Well, guys, I cannot believe this. We have just done an absolutely fantastic podcast. We've had 10 minutes of chat. It's been mind-blowing. And as many of you know, I have made this mistake before. So we'll move on past that. I would love to welcome Jo Cripps from the Tablelands Rowing Club. Jo, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm surprised I haven't walked out at this point. We had a great little chat, and
we did.
We did. Well, at least we're all relaxed now because we've.
Yeah, I was nervous, so it's good.
Yeah, that's gone. And the problem is the crowd in the background are going, oh God, we've been waiting for 25 minutes. Well, what's going on? And now I'm frantically looking at the screen to make sure it is actually recording now. My daughter Piper downstairs, who assured me she was going to tune in, obviously wasn't because she didn't give me a heads up that it's not live. Anyway, that doesn't matter about it being live because people will get it on Spotify and things later. That's fine. Let's regroup. So, Jo Cripps, Tablelands Rowing Club, winner of the Coxswains Award, head of the Yarra 2024. Fantastic. Well done. Huge effort. How are you feeling?
It's still sinking in. Yeah.
Still, yeah. It will. We'll come back to all of that because we've had a trial run of this, haven't we?
Yes.
Hey, tell me a little bit about your history of rowing, how you got into rowing, why you're up at the Tablelands, etc.
I started out in grade 9 at high school for St. Peter's Lutheran College. So I was started out on the Brisbane River and started coxing for Brisbane GPS after a couple of years in the off season. After school, I got into vet science at JCU in Townsville, but I took a gap year first and worked on the family sheep and cattle property in central West Queensland. And then, I was really involved in a lot of rowing in Townsville. I was coxing masters and rowing myself and coaching for a couple of the schools. So,
Now, you mentioned rowing yourself, and I love that about coxswains who have a row. And I've done a podcast early on, just an educational one, nothing exciting like this, along the lines of saying, how do you sort of get a bit of a leg up, if you like, on the rowers so they do respect what you're telling them to do, because it's all good and well for us to sit there, scream at them and tell them to work hard without any knowledge. And I think it's great for coxswains to be able to jump in a boat and do a bit of rowing. So
I think
assuming singles, obviously, and on that, do you sort of, put a bit of pressure on the rowers when you're out there having a paddle with them in singles?
Yeah, I back in the day, there was a squad of us who'd go out in the singles, and it was just me and some masters ladies, and it was fun. It was good.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I love the singles, and they're a lot easier to organise and so forth. Not a lot easier to row. I don't mean it easier in that perspective, but I think it's really important for coxswains to be able to get a feel for how it works, which I think is fantastic.
I think so. I did a little bit of rowing at school. I coxed in grade 12. I coxed the first 8, and I stroked the third 8. So I think that helped a bit with the So it was the same boat. So they'd see me have just rowed 2K, and then I'd hop in and we'd take the boat back up to the start. And I think that helped. So because I'd be asking for a little bit more, and they've just seen me row 2K. So they probably thought, oh, well, I like to think that they.
I can't imagine too many people have done that. Was that like at the head of the river? You did that? You jumped out of wow, that's pretty impressive. How did that work for training though? You wouldn't have been able to.
The third 8 was a very social 8. Afternoon training sessions, and so it didn't clash with the first 8 training. So
nothing wrong with the afternoon training sessions.
Yeah,
big fan of those. They're good. Now you mentioned boarding school before. I was a row at boarding school, and where I was, we had a really good system where they created what was called rowers' meals, and the idea was pretty simple. Is Scotch was big on rowing, and so what it would do is create these rowers' meals for the boarding school, so that these big country boys, who are obviously a lot tougher than city folk like me, would be motivated to row. And the rowers' meals were basically double the meal of the standard meal, which is a really good incentive to get.
That's a good idea.
to go, oh, if you go rowing, you get a double meal. Well, it's a pretty easy sell. Very clever. I don't know if they still do that, but it was a good idea. Now, we're going to speed up now, because this is great, because people who are going to listen in don't have to listen to an hour of my rubbish. We'll get through this a lot quicker now that we already have a practice run. But this is not your first head of the Yarra, is it?
No, I've been down the course 8 times now.
And I know this because we've already done this whole interview before. And I've also pointed out that you've done it more times than I have. I've certainly rode up and down the course a great deal more times than most, but I've certainly not done the head of the Yarra as a coxswain as many times as you had. So well done. Did you plan or think about this award prior to the event at all? Was it in your mind that there's a Coxswains Award? I'd love to snag that. Was that there at all?
Like, I let myself have a little daydream, but I just no, I thought a Melbourne Cox would get it. I didn't even consider it for myself, really. Yeah.
Which is a very logical thought. And I would have thought a Melbourne Cox would easily get it, and I would have thought an interstate Cox would be lucky to get in the top 100.
Yeah.
Turns out, what do I know? Because there was only one local Cox in the top 10, which I think's amazing. And I don't know, my theory is probably a little bit along the lines of maybe we overthought it a little bit more, because last year was the first time we had the event, that I think maybe that we were thinking we want that, because we're all a bunch of egotistical buggers. And so we were thinking a little bit more about it rather than focusing on the end game. I don't know. I certainly, I shouldn't say I was thinking about it, because I know the odds are so minimal anyway. But you are trying to get a short course, and especially when we did have the currents that we had, the course was, we wanted the short course. A downstream current would obviously be a different story, but there wasn't something in the front of the mind. So it's interesting you sort of it's too big a ask to think of that.
Yeah, I forgot about it, honestly.
yeah, absolutely. And this is the perspective of the whole thing, is that and the rowers won't like this, but they, they go up against I think it was about 13 boats in the biggest division, maybe 14, 15, whatever it was, not many more. You've basically come number 1 out of 230 odd boats that raced that day.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it like that.
that's substantial. That's substantial, and it's. I mean, we know in Masters rowing, well, I got a silver at States. Well, it's like, yeah, okay, but Joe's just won a gold over, 230 of you. And so it is a massive thing, and well done. And I know you've, as we said in our previous podcast, your previous session that I hadn't pressed play for, is you're still waiting for that tap on the shoulder.
Sorry?
You're still waiting for that tap on the shoulder as to
yes.
As to the
there's been a mistake.
There's been a mistake. So there's a question that's been asked by Chris Wade: did the shortest course translate to the fastest time? No, not at all, and it wouldn't, Chris. And I'll explain that a bit later, because the faster you go, the harder it is to go shorter. Obviously, that's physics. Come on, mate, didn't you go to school? Sorry, I'm being a bit harsh there. No, it doesn't translate at all, but it certainly makes life easier on the rowers.
I'm sure the crew appreciated rowing a bit.
Oh, gotcha. Absolutely. And getting to that, which we spoke about again just prior, I think you won by 17 or 19 metres or whatever it is. That's basically 2 strokes. that's a fair margin. Now, it might not seem like a fair margin. I reckon that is a fair margin. I would have thought that this would come down to meters between a heap of crews. I really would have thought
Yeah.
that. You know, there's no doubt that that's a really impressive result in how you've done that.
I was very lucky. I had no crews around me, so I could just take the line I wanted around the bend. So
Yeah, well, that is also a big factor. So with all of the, I'm certainly not saying, you know, others haven't done so well because they've gone a longer route. But if you've had to yield and you've had to let people through, you've gone the long way around. You know, there's luck in that part. Yeah. But let's still come back to the point that, you know, this is not your river. You row in a lake, so to speak, and then you've turned up and absolutely blown us all away, which I think is fantastic. And again, I'm a super competitive bugger, and I just love being beaten. I love being beaten by the people who do better, and that's absolutely what you did. So I think nothing better than that, nothing more satisfying than that from a competitive perspective. No, that's great. Hey, tell me, were you nervous beforehand? I know you've done it 8 times. You did it twice on Saturday.
Yeah, I was really nervous. I hadn't done it in ages. The last time I coxed it was 2018. So I was really nervous.
That's years ago.
I was reluctant to even say yes when Tablelands asked me to do it. Because I was dragging my feet. I was like, oh, I'm so rusty. Like, you sure you want me? Like, I don't know. And they're like, no, it's like riding a bike. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it gets a bit like, oh, no, you'll be fine. It's like, yeah, but there's a bit of responsibility here. Actually, I didn't mention at the start this time is the Tablelands. Most people don't even know what we're talking about. That's Yarra up in far north Queensland. Beautiful part of the world. I've swum in there doing triathlons and so forth, and we did discuss this before. There's a rumour of a crocodile in that lake up there, but I think it's purely rumour.
I've never seen it, so
no. I think I'm pretty sure that's one rumour. but let's go to your mates down the hill a little bit though at Cairns Rowing Club, and they do row with crocodiles.
Yeah,
and they row singles down there because we had a guy, a French guy from the Cairns Rowing Club, come and row with us back when I was rowing at Cardinals. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, and I was rowing then, not coxing. And he came down and rowed with us, and I said, "Do you actually row singles up there?" He said, "Yeah, we row singles. It's crocodiles." Oh yeah, okay. It's a good incentive not to tip over, isn't it?
Very good incentive. Although,
a bit of cold water. Oh dear. Never mind. But look, I'm a little bit. I don't know what's the word to use. I won't say the word starstruck. That's getting a little bit carried away. But I am so excited.
That's how I feel.
I don't know about that. But no, I think it's great. And you know, as we did speak a lot about at the start in our first run of this, which went really well. It's a shame I hadn't pressed play, and I know a few people who have criticised me for this in the past will remind me that I've done it again, but that's okay. We're not experts on what we're doing here. It's all part of the fun of it. But coming to the award, and last year when I won it, there was a lot of I don't know what's the word to use. Not speculation, but controversy as to the authenticity of it. And we spoke a lot about this the first time round, and we'll bring it back up now because I think it's important. Because I know you mentioned just before, you're waiting, you know, that person to tap you on the shoulder saying, "Oh, they got it wrong." Well, let's just say they didn't get it wrong. It is what it is. That is the result. Last year, I believe, with digging as much as I could, that the last 30 odd boats didn't get a time taken because they had to move the timing, the GPS devices from the end back to the start. Might have not been recalibrated, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But the point I'm going to make here is really simple, is even though the Opens didn't race, they would not have got a shorter course than you. It's not possible. So that's
Yeah.
basic physics because they're going too fast. They don't
Yeah.
they don't have the
I
luxury of
hadn't
cutting those.
thought of that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've said it. And when we said it the first time, and when I explained it like that, I could see the bewilderment in your face, going, "Oh, well, that makes sense."
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's better Coxes than us in the tail end of it. We had an Olympian, James Rook, who was going to come down. I mean, he
Yeah.
knows a lot more about it than we'll ever know about it. There's no question
Absolutely.
there, and there's I would never dispute any of that. That's not what the award was for. But so it is totally legitimate that that you've pulled that award out, and by a good margin. So I reckon it's fantastic, and again highlighting how great it is that the interstate cruise did so well.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
I mean, hopefully they come back. Are you going to come back next year?
Yeah. I think I'll have another hit out. Yeah. I love the
Yeah.
Yarra.
Yeah. What will be happening with your mind on that on the prize next year?
Yeah, well, I guess it'll definitely be on my mind.
Yeah,
I'll probably be off my game. I'll have all the pressure and expectation or something.
Well, the beauty of it is, I suppose, as we were saying earlier, we know there's an element of luck in this one, and
Yes.
and when I won it last year, and they put the microphone in my face, said, "Well, this was luck." There's a lot of better Coxes out there than me by a long way. There's no grey area in that. I mean, our job is a simple one, especially over 8Ks, is to motivate and keep everyone chugging along as best they can do. And the course, the course is the course, the race is the race. But the value that we add on an event like a head race is exceptional, I think, without a doubt.
That's why I love head races, because you can just add so much to it. You get
You can, and the rowers are
provide more value. Yeah.
I love when you get the Coxless boats when they do head races and they they hit the bank. So yeah, you did.
Yep.
That's part of what you do, right? But with the Cox. Oh no, don't want that. No. That's, and then they use that as their excuse and go, well, if I didn't hit the bank, I would have won. So, but you hit the bank anyway. That's one of those things. But I know as a previous rower, I certainly wouldn't want to be Coxless. I'd want someone yelling at me and trying to keep me going. And I'm the same in my main sport, triathlon, when I'm training, and I think, like when I'm swimming, and I'm thinking, God, I wish there was someone yelling at me. Yeah. It's so hard in your own place, in your own mind, trying to get the best out of yourself. I think, but I'm going into a different conversation now about motivation and those things. But I think it's part of the whole journey. We didn't discuss it the second time around, but the biggest fears coming into the race. What were your biggest fears coming into the race?
I hadn't done it in that long. I wasn't too worried about the Big Bend. I think it's a little bit overhyped.
Yeah, that's overhyped. Yeah.
That skinny bridge. I was nervous about the Wallen Road Bridge. Yeah.
Well, I hope I didn't get into your head on that one, but the Wallen Street Bridge.
A little bit, because I've always have a lot of healthy respect for that bridge. And then I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's right, that bridge is really skinny.
And it was funny because Jen Pollock, who's been around forever and a day, and she's exceptionally good at what she does. And I said to her, what's your biggest fear? She said, the Wallen Street Bridge. I said, I'm glad you said that, because it gave me some.
I was listening to that, and I was like, oh God. Yeah.
They're both scared. And there's often some issues with the no overtaking zone coming into that, and you've got to get your crew. I think that, Look, I think there's a few keys, I think, to to winning the award, if we want to look at it that way. I think there's one thing, you need a bit of luck, right? Obviously. Another thing you need is not to go too fast. And I don't mean not to go too fast, obviously, but the guys, like the open guys, they have to stay wide. Because that's the way it's going to work by default. The other thing I reckon is massively important is a really powerful bow four.
Yeah.
they've got to get you around those corners.
Yeah.
And you need a massively powerful bow fore, which may go against the general setup of a boat as well. So, because if you're trying to take the shortest line, that's what you need, because we've got a few pretty tight ones. There's a few 90-degree bends and so forth. So, I think that's sort of the key to it all. But anyway, what's the plan for the season ahead for you?
I'm not really a member of a club. Oh, well, I rode for like the last club I rode for was Tableland, so I joined up with them for their first hit out at the Yarra. But my closest club is Mackay. I live half an hour south of Mackay. It's about a 45-minute drive to the shed. And I haven't been down very much. I'm on call for work a lot, and it is a little bit of a drive. So I've been really slack getting down to the shed. But I saw some of the Mackay guys at the Yarra, and they told me that they're fixing up their old 8, and they're going to get it out on the water. And if I'd cox it, and I said I would. So I'll probably do a bit of that.
It is a fair trip, though, isn't it? How long's that?
To
drive down to row down there. Yeah.
Well, I live just south of Mackay now.
Oh, okay. Also, it's a long trip to the Tablelands then.
Yes. Yeah.
Have I got my geography right? It's been a few years since I left. I think I left.
No, you're right. Yeah. No, I've moved. Yep.
Yep.
So I live in Mackay now.
Oh yeah. Excellent.
So, yeah. So I think I'll get down to the shed a bit more next year, and I'd love to have a go at the Outback Regatta out at Longreach.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Longreach is in like Qantas Longreach.
As in, Western
Do you know what I'm talking about there? That's where Qantas was founded, Longreach.
Yes, it was. Yep.
I've never been there.
Because I think it'd be really cool, because that's near where I grew up, and I think it's awesome that there's rowing out in Western Queensland now. So,
that is cool. The only thing I know
you should come to it.
That is, pardon the pun, a hell of a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing I know about sort of like those inland regattas is that thing that they do in Alice Springs where they sort of run along the thing carrying a boat or something. I think it's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a rowing thing or a sailing thing or whatever they do, but they run along carrying a boat. An interesting
I've seen footage of that. I can't think what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
They got Red Bull thing.
Chris has jumped back in with, I love the idea of switching bow pair in 5 and 6.
Not sure
that's it. Well, no, they probably won't. Head of the Todd. Chris is across it all. He's now head of the Todd. That's what it's called. Yes, it's the head of the Todd at Alice Springs. That's right. Yeah. Oh well. Maybe. Anyway, probably not as much fun as a cox. How would that work?
No. Cox? What would you do?
I don't think you'd do much. Maybe they carry you. That'd be fun. Anyway, we're going way off track. Having a great look. Thanks very much, Jo, for joining me. I apologise that we've had to do it twice.
That's okay.
I don't know how I fix this. I'm going to have to get some better media people behind me to get on top of my poor technical skills of pressing the play button, so to speak. But we got there in the end. I think we covered everything that we discussed the first time, didn't we?
I think so.
I think we did. I think we did all right.
Yeah.
But Jo Cripps from the Tablelands Rowing Club, well done on winning that award. That is absolutely fantastic. If I haven't said it enough already, super proud of what you've done. That's great, and good on you for keeping us locals honest. And I reckon there'll be a few local coxswains listening in going, oh, what is all this BS about? We were much better. No, you've got to lift your game. The interstaters, they're following. Oh, we did discuss like YouTube videos, didn't we? Because they.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I know that a few of the interstaters will use those YouTube videos to sort of get a feel for the river. I think that's what Jen Pollock was saying too. She looks at a few of those and gets a feel.
I look at a few, yep.
Yeah, you look at a few. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Don't know if it helps. You need to row it, but hey, didn't help me. So it's all good. But hey, Jo, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you
We'll
so much for
wind it
having
up
me.
on that. And yes, I did press play this time. We do not have to do it a third time. That's the good news. But let's chat again. Let's chat again. We'll find a reason. I'll find some excuse to drag you in to have a chat about something rowing wise. And I reckon everyone would love to hear from you because hey, you've got that title and they can't take it away. And you will not get a tap on the back. It is legit. Well done. You've earned it. You've deserved it. And make the most of it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thanks for joining me. Been great twice.